Hello and welcome back to Music Wars. My name's Steve, and if you haven't been here before, please consider subscribing to the channel, liking the videos, sharing them with your family and friends. It would really help grow the channel. Each comment, each like just pushes the video that much farther and puts it out to people who may not be familiar with Elvis. Today we have a really good interview with uh, my favorite guitarist of all time, James Burton. There's a lot of good ones out there, but in my opinion, I don't know if he's the best, but he's my favorite. Uh, and he's pretty close to the best if he's not. This is from an interview, the Musicians Hall of Fame. And we lost Joe Chambers, who was the uh, head of this and did all the interviews. And I'd like to ask you, definitely go and check out the Musicians Hall of Fame videos on YouTube. He does some really amazing interviews with people. This one is a little sad, but nevertheless, we're going to do it. We're going to jump into it right now. And this is Joe Chambers interviewing the head of the TCB band. And here we go.
Hi, this is Joe Chambers. Welcome to Musicians Hall of Fame Backstage. Today's guest is the great James Burton. So, I hate to bring up something like this, but you were in the band when Elvis passed. What happened? What was that like for you?
Well,
what was it like for the band?
August 16th, and I lived in Toluca Lake in Burbank, California, and I went to Burbank to get on we had a private plane, and we flew to Las Vegas and picked up our conductor, Joe Gershow, and singers and musicians. And so anyway, when we left Las Vegas that morning, we were flying out to, our first show was in Portland, Maine. And man, I don't know, we were in the air maybe 15, 20, 30 minutes. And you can get quite a ways down the road, down the air in a plane, So they called from Vegas and said, return to Vegas. The pilot, but they didn't tell him why. So anyway, the pilot said, well, I have to stop and refuel because I can't just turn around and go back. So we stopped in Pueblo, Colorado to refuel. And so I got out, and I walked outside the plane, and the trombone player, Marty Harrow, Marty came up to me and said, James, I'm going to go call Vegas and see if I can get find out something. I said, oh, okay. So my wife was in Louisiana. I called, I was going to go call her, and I didn't make it to the phone. Marty was on his way back. And he came up to me, and he had tears in his eyes, and he put his arms around me and he said, Elvis died. I couldn't believe it, man. It was like shock, I couldn't believe it. I said, is this a joke? He said, no, for real. And because the thing that came to mind was Vernon. His dad had been sick with the heart problems. And I thought maybe something happened to Vernon. But it was, this particular time, it was Elvis. I mean, it was a sad flight back to Vegas. We get back to Vegas, and I had a home in Vegas, and I was going to get off and stay there, knowing my wife was in Louisiana. I said, no, I'm going to go back to my home in Toluca Lake in Burbank. And Jimmy Wakely, a good friend of mine, the cowboy, Jimmy, picked me up at the airport, and it was raining. It was really a sad day. And he took me to my house, and he said, James, I want you to come spend the night with me and Inez, his wife. I said, Man, I don't know. I really need to get on the phone. I want to see if I can get a flight to Memphis. I got on the phone. Joe, I called every airline I could think of, and they were completely booked up. I talked to a girl with American Airlines, and she knew me. She because she was a big fan of Elvis. She said, James, I got 500 people on waiting list, but give me an hour or two and let me see what I can do. So she called me back later and she said, you got an 11 o'clock flight tomorrow morning and don't be late. And I went and got on that plane, flew to Memphis, and it was a very sad thing, you know. I walked in the house and I called my wife and I said, meet me in Memphis, and so she did. Later, I picked her up later at the airport, and Priscilla wanted to take me in that room where they had Elvis in the casket, and I didn't want to do it. I said, I'm gonna wait till my wife gets here. And Ann Margaret was there. Ann was in the room with Elvis, and she would go in for maybe 3 or 4 hours and then come out and go back in.
That long in there with it, with golly.
Yeah, James Brown, man, he was in there for hours. He I don't know, I think they had to pull him out. He didn't want to leave. And Ann Margaret was in there a long time. And yeah, it was just, God, again, all the people driving down the funeral concession, going to the graveyard. The streets were just lined up with thousands and thousands of people. Just amazing. It was sad. You know, my wife and I we were in like the third, I believe, third or fourth white limo following the hearse to the, and J.D. Sumner and the Stamps, they were all there. And it was a sad day.
Hi, this is Joe Chambers.
Good interview with James Burton. Not the happiest of interviews, but we all know that that was a fact of life. We've all missed Elvis since that time. Don't know what else to say on that. Um, I know there's no way of everyone enjoying it, but like I said, it's a fact of life. It's something that happened, and every time we see one of the people who played with him, uh, we've still got Jerry Sheff, and we've still got him that are around. Um, most of the others have gone now, but what a testament to him, the love that they all had for him. He wasn't just the boss. He was their friend. They loved him. And that's about all I have to say about this one. Come back tomorrow. We'll have another great, either a song or an interview. And until then, so long from Music Wars.